Hey guys, Vincent YT here, and this is my Wheelhorse 315-8. I got this tractor, let's see, about 3 to 4 months ago, and I absolutely love it. I think it was about four and a half months ago, and this is just the update on it, how it's doing. I'm going to show you the things I love about the tractor, the things I don't love about the tractor, and yeah. So, as you can see here, it is a 315-8. It's got the 8-speed transmission. Here it's got high and low range. And back here you can see it's got the unidrive. Yeah, it's been a great tractor so far. It's got the Kohler Command Pro 15. Model number is CH15S, I believe. Let me open up the hood. Here's all the details. Yeah, CH15S. So yeah, one thing that I noticed about it is that this right here, the bolt for the exhaust, that stripped very easily because I took the exhaust off at one point and it stripped very easily. I was not very happy with that. But I am going to be putting a stack on it, which I think is going to be pretty awesome. That's going to happen eventually, I don't know when. So here's the things I love about it. The front tires, number one, they're big. I can put wheel weights in those because the rims are so big. Something that's different about the 315 that's not on the 312 is that the 312 has smaller regular front tires. This one has the big rims, so you can put wheel weights in them. Second thing I love, the rear tires. They are gigantic, and they're 5 lug. So, much better for pulling, heavy weight, than Ralph, because Ralph was just one single thing. So as you can see in there, 5 lug. I am going to be changing these tires to bar tires. I think that's what they're called, bar lug tires or something like that. Basically regular tractor tires, because these just don't give enough traction because they are turf tires, and I need to plow this winter without chains. So that's going to be a fun task, because I realize that I tear up people's driveways and the roads with chains. So I can't be using chains. Another thing I love is that, compared to Ralph, the choke is separate from the throttle. That's something I absolutely love. I love it. It's great, because I can just start this at low revolutions per minute, and it starts great. Sometimes it dies out depending on how cold the day is. I'll have to raise the RPMs, have to raise the throttle. Another thing I love and hate is that the gas tank is under the seat. That's a good thing because that leaves the battery under the hood and it's more easily accessible and stuff. But it's a bad thing because I can't have like a gas meter on the dash here. Dang, that's dirty. Gotta clean this dude. Another thing I like is that it has an hour meter. And as you can see, I have 632.7 hours. Another thing I like, voltmeter. So as you can see, it hasn't been started yet, but I have 12 volts, so that's perfect. Electronic PTO engage. So apparently there's cobwebs everywhere in here. Get those out of there. But in there you can see it has the wire going to the PTO engage. Alright, another thing I love is that it has hood latches. Ralph did not have hood latches. So whenever I was plowing and I hit something, like a rock or something, the hood would just fly open. Let's see, another thing I like, gigantic steering wheel. So here's my hand on the steering wheel. It's got a huge steering wheel. Like, that's almost the size of my car's steering wheel. Another thing I like is the transmission in general. Granted, this one is slipping out of high every now and then, so something's worn inside there. But I really like the transmission. It's heavy duty. It's pulled everything I needed it to pull. It's an 8-speed, so it's got high and low. I almost never go in low. Almost never have to go in low. First gear has got me through everything I needed to go through, except mud. I got stuck in mud and had to get my neighbor to pull me out. That was embarrassing. But that was just because of the tires. These tires, as you can see, are the original tires from 2003, and they are pretty worn down. They don't have nearly as much tread as they used to. But they're still not bad. I'm just going to replace them. I'm going to bring these to a tire shop and have them do it, because I am not replacing these myself. Let's see, is there anything else I like? Oh, how quiet it is. I started it up in my first video I had of it, and this thing is quiet. But I also like loud. So I took the muffler off, and this thing was ear-piercingly loud. So I decided that I'm not going to straight pipe it, and instead, when I put a stack on it, I am going to keep some sort of muffler. I'm probably going to actually I have the muffler planned out, and it's going to be off of a Massey Ferguson MF 180. So it's going to be that stack that I'm using. And yeah. So let's see, let's move on to things that another thing that I like, taillights. Stock taillights. If you guys remember on Ralph, I had to install taillights because I needed taillights. But this one, nope, comes stock. Okay, things that I don't like. The cup holder. It is small. Like, my 4 fingers are scrunched in there. So it barely fits like a full-size Gatorade bottle. Another thing I don't like is the seat got very easily torn up, as you can see. The seat is not very, the seat's very comfortable, but just when I got it, this stuff was all out. I might get it reupholstered. Another thing I don't like I said, the bolt for the muffler stripped very easily. That could just be because it was old, but I don't know. Another thing I don't like, open up the hood real quick. This right here is the oil sensor, and that went bad. So whenever I start it and have it running, the oil light, as you can see, engine oil right there, that light is like almost always on. Let's see, what else don't I like? There's not much that I don't like. It's a very good tractor. Oh, one thing that I don't like is this right here. This bends very easily. So that bent. That was already bent when I got it, but I bent it back, and then it bent back like that on its own. I don't know. Another thing I don't like is that the transmission is a little worn out, so it slips out of high every now and then I have to fight with it to get it back in high. Let's see. Another thing I don't like, these hood latches. I said I like them, and I do, but they're riveted on there. So if this ever breaks, like if this piece right here ever breaks that's holding it, I have to like unrivet it and then rivet it back, like drill out the rivets or whatever. What I just noticed though is that they made it so you can take off these rubber things without having to take off the rivets. I do like that. You can just undo this little pin up here, and then this pin will slide out, and then you can take this rubber thing off. I do like that. Oh, another thing I like is the headlights. They're halogens. They're super bright. I've driven this thing at night multiple times, and they're freaking great. I love them. So, another thing I don't like is this plastic piece right here. Like, come on. They could have made that metal. They could have made that. They could have made it not there at all. They could have just left it off and painted the PTO engage, but I see why they put it there to protect the PTO engage because it is electric. Because on most wheel horses you see that have manual PTO engages, it is painted and doesn't have this plastic piece. So that's another thing I'm not a fan of. Another thing I'm not a fan of is that the heat shield for this fell off. I contacted the previous owner once I found out that it's supposed to have a heat shield, and he said it just fell off and he didn't feel like putting it back on. Let's see. That's really all I don't like about the tractor. I mean, it's really good. One thing I'm not a big fan of is that my lawnmower, Ralph, he's definitely not a tractor, he's a lawnmower, had more horsepower than this thing. This only has 15 horsepower. Granted, they were minimalistic, and 15 horsepower is more than enough to pull what I need it to pull. Like, it bogs down every now and then, yeah. Like, I've pulled my 16-foot boat with it, and it did just fine in third gear at high RPMs. It did just fine in third gear at medium RPM, at medium throttle too, going up the hill on my road over there. So it's pulled everything I needed to pull because of the gear ratio, but I'm planning on pulley swapping it and making it do at least 10 miles an hour, because 5 miles an hour just isn't fast enough for me. So, wonder what the heck they're doing. Don't mind me. Anyway, so yeah, 15 horsepower has been more than enough. Another thing I don't like, this battery cover here ripped. I find those very important, because if that comes in contact with your hood and sparks, that could be a problem. And another thing that I find quite interesting is this piece right here, this metal piece, seems to be bent. So whenever I put the hood down, sometimes if it goes down like farther than it's supposed to, like if I hit a big bump or something, the hood will like slam down and cover the reverse mowing selected. It'll cover the top of the throttle here. So yeah, I'm probably gonna end up bending that back somehow. I don't know what I'm gonna do there. But yeah, so that's basically everything. I noticed that without the extra bolt for the exhaust, it is louder. You can hear the tick of the exhaust more without that extra bolt. But yeah, let me start this thing up for you here. Alright, here's the question. Choke or no choke? Yeah, let's do choke. Oops, didn't get it quick enough. Oh, that's another thing I don't like. Sometimes, I think there's a safety switch going bad in here for the gear thing. And sometimes it won't start. Like right now, listen. So it's not gonna start now. I'm gonna have to take a screwdriver and put it across the starter solenoid to get it to start, because sometimes it doesn't start. Let me see if I put it in gear and take it out. Nope. Let's put it in first, take it out. Nope. so it's not going to start now. That's another thing I don't like, is the electronics are going wonky. The oil meter, the oil sensor is going bad. The safety sensor for the gear is going, for being in gear while starting, is going bad. So that's another thing I don't like, is how much safety stuff it has. So yeah, I can't do a cold start right now because that's going to be hard, trying to cold start it while holding a phone recording. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and this is my Wheelhorse 315-8. Overall, great tractor. We'll never get rid of it, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.